Finally, male birth control on this stat episode of The Regimen. Hello, pharmacists and friends. Today is Wednesday, June 5th, 2024. Welcome to the Stat Regimen featuring breaking public health news. My name's Liz Arnold. I'm a sixth and final year Doctor of Pharmacy student at the University of Rhode Island, working alongside Dr. Bratberg in the Rhode Island Department of Health.
And I'm Jeff Bratberg. I'm a clinical professor of pharmacy practice and clinical research at the URI College of Pharmacy and the Academic Collaborations Officer at the Rhode Island Department of Health. As a reminder to our listeners, the opinions expressed in this podcast by the hosts and guests do not represent the opinions of the United States government, the Rhode Island Department of Health, nor the University of Rhode Island.
With the release of oral contraceptives around 60 years ago, women have carried virtually all of the burden when it comes to pregnancy prevention. Still, half of pregnancies are unintended. In 2024, women now have what seems like endless contraceptive options, from oral tablets to injections, implants, patches, rings, and non-hormonal methods like sterilization. Men, however, have really only had two options, condoms or vasectomy. Vasectomy is a surgical procedure and is most often permanent and not reliably reversible. Condoms, while non-permanent, are comparatively unreliable in preventing pregnancy as compared to vasectomy or hormonal contraceptives for women.
And so, even after federal protections for abortion were recently removed, researchers have found increasing demand for reliable and long-acting contraceptives from studies that show increased IUD placements to both female and male sterilization rates going up. In fact, a study from the Male Contraceptive Initiative found that with the abortion ruling, the number of men interested in trying new contraceptives jumped from 78% to 82%.
I actually saw something online about a custom-fitted device that uses ultrasound technology to stop sperm's motility in the testicles that are placed in a heated water bath for a man to use before intercourse.
Liz, that sounds so convenient. I can't imagine why people would not want to use that. But, any option is a good option, I guess. Do we have any other options?
Fortunately, there are some new contraceptive products under development for men. Unlike products that have been studied in the past, are safe, effective, reversible, and easy enough for a man to use.
Well, clearly, we actually have data that show that if the product has side effects or is not easy to use, men will not use them. I mean, I am sort of surprised that since contraception is everyone's responsibility in both short and long-term relationships, it's taken this long to develop these products because, there's a plethora of, ED drugs that you can even order online.
Yep. There have been companies working for the last 50 years trying to develop male hormonal contraceptives. The chief of the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development's Contraception Research Branch, Daniel Johnson, told NBC News that one of the major issues being faced is a lack of funding to get through a phase 3 trial.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Again, if there's no demand, products are not made, and I guess there's a bigger demand for ED than for contraceptives.
So there are multiple male contraceptives being studied right now showing promising results with unique administration routes, injection, topical, and a pill. So the closest product to approval is a topical gel, similar in consistency to an alcohol hand sanitizer, applied once daily to the shoulder blades. It contains testosterone and nesterone, or progesterone acetate, a potent progestin-like hormone. The combination of the two agents reduces sperm production. The addition of nesterone helps by reducing the dose of testosterone needed, which thereby reduces side effects like decreased sex drive, mood changes, and unusual weight changes. Researchers have found that full efficacy starts at 8 weeks of use, which is much less than the months it took for similar products.
Yeah, I can imagine if people are unwilling, even in trials, to use a product for contraception, even in long-term relationships, waiting for months for something to take effect. And again, it sometimes takes months for contraceptives used by women. It's interesting that it starts so fast. So a little bit about the trial. These are early stage trials. They're still, human trials. 220 men were enrolled, aged 18 to 50, and they applied the gel daily, actually, over 12 weeks. And again, just like the ultrasound device we mentioned, it's all about stopping sperm production or inhibiting their motility. And so their sperm counts were tested to make sure that they are low, below a threshold that is necessary to achieve pregnancy. In the study, it's important, again, just as we said, contraception is everyone's responsibility. Participants need consent from their female partners, and they need to be in committed monogamous relationships. Of course, no treatment has a lack of side effects, but really only one participant of the study reported experiencing some acne at the application site and some potentially minor weight gain, but he actually admitted in a news story that other factors may have contributed to the side effect.
Another product currently in development is a non-hormonal pill that blocks the vitamin A receptor, and that's being studied in the UK. So vitamin A is required for sperm production, therefore blocking vitamin A will decrease the amount of sperm being produced. This product has years to go before being marketed.
Yeah, again, as we said earlier, these are early stage trials. There's a lot in the news about it. There was just a meeting from a group of endocrine researchers and scientists and clinicians. So everyone's really excited about it. We've waited decades for this, but we're still going to have to wait a few years before any of these things come to market. Is there anything else in development, Liz?
Yes, a medical device company is working on a non-hormonal gel injection called Atom that's injected into the vas deferens, which is the tube that carries sperm. And after the gel is injected into the vas deferens, in a procedure that totals about 15 minutes, it forms a blockage that prevents sperm from traveling. And it's been compared to the IUD in the sense that it lasts for years and is reversible. And there's also another company working on a similar injection that's called Plan A.
Plan A, really? We just have to have the top of the alphabet. There's Plan A and Plan B and Plan C. Okay, well, however they market it, if they get people to use it and give people more choices, I think that's important. Again, importantly, all of these options are not yet approved. They are in human trials. They're very small trials. So it's important that everyone stay aware of what's happening in the world of male contraceptives. And perhaps I think we should be teaching about them and teaching you about them so that we know what's happening with these new developments.
Agreed. Hopefully, the approval of these male birth control options will help to alleviate the burden that women have previously experienced in pregnancy prevention.
Yeah, and as we said earlier, the reason we don't have this is lack of funding or lack of interest. We see increased interest in men who want these options. It sounds like promising research, but what the researchers have revealed in news stories especially is that funding isn't guaranteed, both from federal sources or private sources. These are consortiums that are funding this. They still need, for the most critical, large-scale studies, more funding. And so it's important that realize that this development isn't guaranteed to be ongoing, even with these promising results. There needs to be more funding from any source to make sure that this gets across the finish line and is approved by the Food and Drug Administration.
Along with funding, is there anything else that we're missing?
So it's important that listeners understand that with male and female forms of contraception, you're actually, if it's not barrier protection like condoms, you're putting your partner potentially at risk of sexually transmitted infections. So it's important to realize the 3 steps that the CDC recommends to prevent sexually transmitted infections, which is to talk about them, talk about your history, talk about your risk factors, to test for them, and if the tests come back positive, to treat them. Many STIs are treatable and can be prevented from being transmitted to your partner. This concludes our stat episode of the Regimen for Male Birth Control. Please let us know what questions you have. Follow us on Instagram and X, and you'll find us at PharmD Pub Health. That's Pharm as in pharmacist, PharmD as in doctor, Pub Health, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.